Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for attending today. My name is Ammar, and I'm the Director of Client Relations at Stake. This webinar, we're going to talk about Stake, how it works. We're going to walk you through the Dubai real estate in general. We have some exciting news about the visas with Stake and the process. And of course, at the end of the webinar, we're going to take your questions and try to answer everything. During the webinar, you can ask us anything. You can just drop your questions in Q&A. We're going to try to answer everything during the presentation. If we couldn't, we're going to answer everything at the end of the presentation. So we're going to be your host during this presentation. Again, this is Ammar, and with me, Sarah. She's going to introduce herself now.
Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So my name's Sarah, and I head up marketing for Stake.
Cool. We're going to move to a rundown on Stake. As you all know, real estate is one of the most popular asset classes in the world. Apart from it's crucial for anyone to own a home, investing in this asset class has a lot of benefits. Like it's hedge against inflation, it's tangible asset, it's giving inconsistent cash flow, potential of appreciation, and it's one of the safest investments options. However, we also understand that investing in it comes with a lot of challenges, like it's restricted access. Not everyone in the world can afford to contribute to that kind of investments, as it requires you to come up with a massive amount of capital to lock it in one property, which is something difficult and not accessible for everyone. It's inconvenience, the hassle of completing the registration process after purchasing the asset it's time and effort consuming. And when we're talking about concentration, even if you could afford to be part of these investments and buy a property, it's hard for more than 90% of investors to diversify. So they're going to be in a position of putting all the eggs in one basket, which is making these investments a kind of risky. There's no transparency. Now, if you want to invest in real estate, you need to trust someone to do the due diligence on your behalf. And a lot of information in this market is missing when it comes to choosing the right asset. You need a lot of time to complete the research yourself to identify your suitable investments. And unfortunately, there is no alternative. REITs, even if they do exist, it's very challenging for you to have an excellent investments, considering the risk factors in terms of trusting the company and choosing the right asset, as sometimes you have no visibility over the properties that you're going to invest in, and the market volatility, which directly impacts your return. Also, this is a very important point, like some of the performance of these REITs will be tied to the performance of the stock market, which means it holds more risk. And the last point, when we're talking about the liquidity, once you own property, it will be a challenging mission for you to resell it, as this is an open market and you need to rely on agents to take over the selling process for you. Having said that, and taking all into consideration these, investing in real estate, it's a tough mission for anyone. It's neither easy or cheap. And that was the motivation for Stake to be founded, to empower anyone from anywhere around the world to be part of the real estate market and to build wealth. So literally speaking, from the day that you download the app until you complete the verification process to choose the property and invest, this process, you can do it in under 3 minutes, which is 10,000 times faster than the traditional way. And the beauty of that is that you can start from as low as 500 dirham. And that will jump to the third point, which is the diversification. Since the minimum required amount is very accessible to anyone, you can get the advantage of diversify your investments in different properties with not compromising on the quality of these assets. Because over here, we have a proper team that they're doing a proper due diligence on all the properties before we selecting any asset to put it for investors to invest. You can study all the documents. And when we're talking about the full transparency, we have a proper acquisition team that they're doing the due diligence for each property we choose on the platform. So for all investors to get access to these documents related to investments memorandum, where from there you can get to know the area itself, the demand versus supply, the occupancy rate, the historical transactions, and we've included a financial projection sheet in each property where you can look at all the figures associated with this model or this property, and property valuation, which will show you all the transactions that have been made from Dubai Land Department on these properties and what are the listings in the market right now, so you can double check the price of these properties. So this will help you to identify which property matches with your investment goals. It's better than REITs, as we mentioned, as I've mentioned earlier, like in REITs, you need to trust the company to identify the right property for you. And sometimes you have no visibilities on these assets. Over here, you're going to be your own fund manager. You can select your own asset and can obviously diversify. Sell your stake. This is concerning the liquidity. Last year, we've launched this feature that allows investors to resell their shares if they hold the investments for at least 1 year. This exit windows operates every May and November and give the advantage to anyone to resell his shares from the comfort of your home, obviously, through the app. You can sell partially, you can sell the entire shares, you can double check the valuation because we refresh the valuations every 6 months, where you will get to know what's the property will be equal in that point of time. Based on that, you can determine the selling price, you can sell with appreciation, you can even give discount if you want to liquidate faster. Moving on, powered by technology, we use the method of fractional ownership to make real estate to make the investing in real estate more simple, easy, and transparent and accessible to everyone. What's the difference between fractional ownership and the traditional way of investing in real estate? In the traditional way, I'm going to give a quick example. You will be in a position of buying a property, let's say for 1 million dirham. You will take the hassle of doing your own due diligence on this property to identify the right asset for you. Then you will go and complete the registration process in the Dubai Land Department, and this process takes its hassle. And then you need to manage the property or hand over to a proper management company. Fractional ownership, we're giving you the exact same service, but rather than putting 1 million dirham in one property, over here you can diversify, you can invest from whatever amount that you feel comfortable with. We only source prime locations that allows you to diversify in different areas. The fractional ownership works in collaboration with the IFC. We are a regulated platform by Dubai Financial Services Authority. The IFC and Dubai Land Department, they've done an agreement to sponsor the registration process of the fractional ownership asset. That will allows us to distribute two legal documents. One is the title deed that is issued by Dubai Land Department. You can validate these documents from their website. It's a governmental website, and you will get your certificate to prove your ownership as well. So that will give you an advantage to access high value properties with lower capital spends. Each owner holds a fraction of the title deed, and it's a regulated business. This allows you also to make two types of income. One is monthly cash flow, because these properties are ready and rented out. You will get a consistent income from the rent that will be credited to your wallet on stake every month. You can withdraw it, you can keep it, you can reinvest it. It's completely your decision. And you can enjoy from capital appreciation because these properties will appreciate over time. Our main objective is to resell these properties with appreciation. So the value of your investments will increase apart from the rental income that you will be making. So that encourages the process of making a very safe investments for you. So what we have done so far, since ever we launched the business, it's been more than 3 years. We were able to gather 460,000 registered users from 165 different countries, over 200 different nationalities. The properties that they were transacted on the platform, the value of these properties were more than 283 million dirhams. We were able to fund more than 165 properties on the platform where anyone can go through the funded properties and go through them, the performance of these properties as well. We've distributed more than 10.2 million dirhams in dividends. And when we're looking at the trend of the value of listings that we were able to fund since ever we launched the business, you can see that we have a consistent and significant growth for the value of assets over time. The missing piece from this trend is this quarter, because we didn't finish the quarter of this year, but last month we see like we were able to fund more than 20 properties in 30 days. That gives the potential for all investors to make instant income as well, to diversify in more prime locations. And this is a solid proof that this kind of model will be is already the future of investing in real estate. Handing over this to Sarah.
Thanks, Amar. So before we dive into the visa programs, which is what we're mainly here to talk about today, I'm just going to give a quick overview of the Dubai real estate market, as the investment is obviously into Dubai real estate. So kicking off, for those that don't know, Dubai real estate has been doing phenomenally well over the last few years due to a number of factors. I think when we look towards a lot of the Western markets, there's been a lot of headwinds in terms of interest rates and inflation. And with those markets also being more heavy on the mortgages, that definitely impacts the real estate market. Whereas what we've seen here is tremendous growth year on year. All we keep hearing are record-breaking months in terms of number of transactions, etc. And I think this is because we have a lot of like tailwinds really helping this market. It's zero income tax. You know, we've got many visa options over the last few years have been introduced to encourage more people to enter the market and reside in the UAE. We've also got a goal to double our population by 2040, and any new people need a home to live in. And Dubai is also ranked first regionally and fifth globally in the World Best Cities reports as a place to live. So if we look on the right-hand side, this is where you can see the growth when we see the transactions. So you can see that off-plan in particular did very, very well last year, but we're also seeing a really healthy amount of transactions in the ready market. What we've already seen to date as well is this continuation into 2024. So it's something that we just don't see slowing down. And the main reason is because of the population growth. So when we look at the population growth and the goal to double the population, it's also important to look at the people that are moving here and who are actually looking to reside. And I think one really healthy indication of this market and how we're maturing as a market is definitely the type of buyer that is coming in or type of resident that's coming in. So what we've actually seen is a 12% growth in enrollment in Dubai private school. So what that shows is these are families coming in. And when families move to the UAE and move to Dubai in particular, that means you're here to stay longer term. Whereas historically, what we saw in not just Dubai, but also the Middle East, was people coming in for a couple of years and then leaving again. This has completely changed, especially since 2020, where people feel like this is their home. They want to invest in real estate, put their children in good schools, and enjoy their life in the UAE. So we have seen really strong population growth. We're on trend to hit our population goal by 2040. And again, I think it's really important to look at the type of individuals that we're bringing into this market, and schools is a great indication of that. And when we also look at other individuals moving into this market, there's a lot of high net worth individuals. Now, the visa programs we're going to go on to talk about, the golden visa in particular, is definitely a big momentum behind this high net worth individual inflow that we're seeing. But I think it's important to look at where high net worth individuals are leaving and where they're coming to. So if you look on the left-hand side, this was the 2023 forecast. We're still waiting on final figures, but you can see that China had the biggest outflow in terms of high net worth individuals. But when we look at where high net worth individuals are moving, we're there at number 2, the UAE. And I think we can all pretty much say with certainty this number definitely transpired. Australia isn't too much of a surprise. You know, Chinese do like Australian real estate and also UAE real estate. So this fact we're coming in number 2 is no surprise, but I definitely think this is a really strong indication of the type of people also coming into this market. We've got families, we've got end users, but then we also have got high net worth individuals that are moving into the market. So this is what we're here to talk about today, the UAE visas and how it works through Stake. So just a little bit of context on the visas in general. So the UAE has many visas available, from remote working visas to golden visas, residency visas. There's many different options. Now, there are a few options whereby you get the visa through real estate investment. 2 of those are the golden visa and retirement visa. To give you a bit more of detail, the visas give you the ability to then live in the UAE tax-free. And there's a couple of points on here, but the main ones I really want to drill into that I think are really important when we think about what the benefits are of these visas. The first one comes down to opening a UAE bank account. So no matter who you are, as long as you've got a golden visa or a retirement visa, you can open a UAE bank account. The second thing I'd say is you're living essentially in one of the safest countries in the world. And I think that whether that's you, your family, and however you decide to, spend your time here, the UAE and Dubai itself are very safe locations. Another point that's really important is extended periods of time outside the UAE. So what you sometimes find with citizenship programs and residency programs is you have to spend a certain number of days within the country, within the city. This does not apply to the UAE. So on the UAE visas, the golden visa and the retirement visa, you can spend extended periods of time outside of the UAE with no commitment on the number of days that you need to spend here per year. And the final thing is you get to obtain your private health insurance. We have really strong healthcare options in the UAE, varying for all levels. And as soon as you've got your visa, you can set up your private health insurance in the UAE as well. So these visa programs, both of them have been running very successfully for a number of years. They were introduced for two very separate reasons. So if we look at the UAE Golden Visas, they were really introduced, again, to drive the high net worth individuals into the country. So when we saw on the earlier slide the inflows of high net worth individuals, the Golden Visa is also a big attractor for high net worth. There's been, 200,000 plus issued so far. It's a super successful program. It originally started with a very niche number of people getting access to the Golden Visa, special talents, special workers, but this has now been completely expanded. And it's a 10-year renewable visa, so every 10 years it can be renewed, and again, enables foreign talent to live, work, and study in the UAE. Now, if we look towards the UAE retirement visa, introduced around a similar point in time, it's been revised, but the main purpose of the retirement visa was to allow expat residents to remain in country. So before this visa was introduced, just to give some context, it was quite difficult for people that had maybe spent 20, 30 years living in the UAE, treating it as their home, to then be able to reside here. It was quite expensive and it was very difficult to do. So the UAE recognised they wanted to retain these expats. They've introduced the retirement visa to allow them to stay in country. And again, this is a 5-year renewable visa. And again, you could still have the ability to work on the visa if you wish as well. So just drilling down to some of the key differences in these visa programs when we apply them to real estate. So when we look at the UAE Golden Visa, this is a 10-year renewable visa, as I mentioned. Now, the investment thresholds are different. So to get the UAE Golden Visa, you need to invest 2 million dirham, which is 545,000 US dollars, into the UAE real estate. As soon as you've hit that investment amount, you have the ability to secure the Golden Visa, but you have to have 2 million dirhams worth under your name to be able to unlock the visa. And again, you can sponsor your spouse, children, and also unlimited domestic helpers as well, which in the UAE, it's quite common to have domestic helpers, and you have the ability to then sponsor those on that visa. Now, looking towards the UAE retirement visa, this is a 5-year renewable visa, and the investment threshold is less. So it's only 1 million dirham, which is 272,000 US dollars. Again, you need to maintain that 1 million dirham. As soon as you've hit 1 million dirham real estate, you can then get access to the retirement visa. This visa does have an age limit, so you have to be 55 years or 55 years old or older and to be able to get the retirement visa. And again, you can still sponsor your spouse and your children on that visa as well. So both of these visas you can get through real estate investment, as I mentioned with the threshold on the previous slide. However, at stake, one of the things that we've really realised is there's things that could kind of be optimized here. And I think that we can offer individuals a much better experience securing these visas. Now, the two core issues with the current format that is available is you're investing into an individual unit. So if you were to go through the traditional means of investing into real estate, you really lack the diversification. So let's just take the Golden Visa, for example, that 2 million dirham you invest it into a single apartment in Dubai. You've got that in one apartment, and whether that apartment goes up or down, that is your entire portfolio for the visa. It's also very, very paper, time, and labor intensive. So if we were to think about how much time it takes to actually secure a property, it takes a long time from viewing, from signing paperwork, from dealing with tenants, from dealing with maintenance. It's a huge amount of work to actually maintain a unit. And I think what's quite common is, especially in people and individuals at a retirement stage of life, you don't really want that hassle. And I also think there's a lot of people that want the UAE Golden Visa and don't always want the hassle of managing the real estate to get that visa. So what we do at Stake is we solve this by offering a complete diversification of your investment. Instead of putting the 2 million dirham in one property, you spread it across as many as you like. It's a completely digital buying process. Do it in a matter of minutes on your phone, as Amar spoke about earlier. And what we do is we give you access to those visas through investing with Stake. So we take care of everything: paperwork, property maintenance, tenancy management. Nobody wants calls at 2 a.m. from their tenants. That's everything that we take care of at Stake to give you as an investor a completely hands-off experience. Now, the way in which we do this is we offer it for anyone who invests the minimum thresholds across unlimited properties. So we still have those quotas of 2 million dirham and 1 million dirham that have to be invested. But those can be invested across as many properties as you like to completely diversify. Now, also remember that as you diversify across different properties and different property types, you will get your rental income every single month into the wallet. So your money is always working for you. It's not sitting there just for capital appreciation. You're benefiting off rental income from the investment as well as the capital appreciation as and when you want to exit. The way in which we do this is because we are a regulated business. So we're regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority, registered in the DIFC. This is in complete collaboration with them. So we've spent a long time trying to get this over the line with them over the last year. Our founders really tried to get this through for stake. So it's super exciting we can now offer it. But it's in collaboration with the regulated entity, which is very important. And it is the first ever initiative where investors can get the visas through a digital investment platform. You know, I think there's a lot of demand for this out there for people that want to be able to invest, want to be able to obtain the visas without having to go through the hassle of actually doing that with a property. So what I'll do is I'll hand back over to Amar, who will talk now through the qualification and application process.
Thanks, Sarah. So concerning how to be qualified for the golden visa or for the retirement visa, since we are regulated by Dubai Financial Services Authority, we have two types of investors. We have retail investors, where by default everyone is being classified as retail investors as per Dubai Financial Services Authority, which means you have a yearly limit to invest on stake platform of $50,000, which is equivalent to 183,000 dirham every calendar year. And you can obviously invest by either transferring funds by using your bank account, or you can fund your wallet using your debit card. In order to be classified as professional investor and get the benefit of exceeding the limit, you need to provide a net worth of $1 million. That could be coming from a title deeds for non-primary assets. That could be your bank statement. That could be investments portfolio, or combination between all. If you're able to prove this net worth, we will share your documents with our compliance team that they will work on classifying your account to become a professional investor, where you can exceed the $50,000 yearly limit. You can invest whatever you want. You can obtain the golden visa or the retirement visa if you fit the requirements. And however, you just need to keep in mind that you cannot own more than 33% in each property, just to avoid any shareholder majority. Investments can be made for professional investors from a bank transfer, credit card, or debit card. And when it comes to the visa, it will be processed by Stake and the IFC. And the cost for this visa will be around 6,100 dirhams. Moving on to the next one, the required documents for you to obtain the visa is that you need to have a valid passport copy. You can just share it with us along with the passport size color photo. We can take care of gathering all the title deeds for the property that you've invested in and include in your application. You just need to provide us, if you're residing in the UAE, you need to provide your Emirates ID, residency visa, and medical insurance copy. If you're residing outside the UAE, you don't need to provide any proof of ID. You just need to provide insurance copy. After that, we're going to take care with the visa processing. So we're going to submit the application through the DIFC portal with all the documents that you've shared. After we get the final approval from our regulator, which will take around 1 week, you will be called to do a medical test. That would be for visa processing in collaboration with immigration. After the medical results, which will take around 1 to 2 days maximum to get the final results, you'll be called to do a biometric scan to get your Emirates ID. And then it will be delivered to you along with your visa. And the process will be completed. So the entire process until you, from the day that all the properties are funded and the title deed are issued, to the time that you shared all the documents until you get the final documents for the golden visa, it will take around 2 weeks time, including everything. So I hope that we've covered everything related to the visa processing and in terms of the documents and how to be qualified to become a professional investors in order to obtain a golden visa. We also talk about stake, how it works. However, we understand that some of you have a different type of questions where we couldn't cover during this webinar. So you're free now to type whatever you want, and we're going to answer these questions live. I'm going to start and look at a few of questions that you've asked, and I will answer those questions live. I bought more properties, man. One question like one investor invested in 4 properties. How can he maximize the income? Will he be in a position where he needs to early exit his properties to maximize the return? I would say real estate is always a long-term investments. The usual recommended investment terms that is set by us is 5 years. However, our main objective is to resell these properties with profit during 5 years. We've done that in 2 properties, and we have more in the pipeline. The latest properties which we've exited, it was located in Marina, in Majara. We bought this property 2.5 years ago for 1.46 million dirhams, and we were able to sell it for 2.2 million. So investors, they've made around 51% capital appreciation from this investments, apart from the rental income that they've made along their investments. So we always recommend you to hold your investments. You will get always a monthly income from the rent that you have full control of that. You can withdraw it, you can keep it there. You can reinvest it as well and do a compound interest. Is investing with you guys halal? Yes, we are Sharia certified. We have a certification that is there on our website for anyone to look at it. We have no debt involved, and we are a Sharia certified company platform.
So there's a question here in regards to exiting the property. So if you just buy part of the property, how do you sell that? So we have exit windows that happen twice a year, where we go out and revalue all of the properties that we have, and that will tell you what your current share price is for your stakes in that particular unit. You have then the option in a 2-week window to sell those onto somebody else. So we open a secondary trading platform. This is where we have activity of buyers and sellers buying and trading off of each other. And you can then sell at the market price that we have assigned, or you can sell it at a discount if you want them to move quicker. So that's the best exit option that we have available. We also, if we receive a offer for an entire unit that is 30% above the initial asking price, we will put a vote to sellers, a vote to the investors if they would like to exit the property. If a certain number do want to exit the property, then we would execute that transaction.
There is a question here. Can I combine my personal property investments along with stake with a total value of 2 million dirhams to get the golden visa? Unfortunately, no. You have to invest the entire 2 million dirhams with either stake, or you need to do it on a personal level in properties outside the platform to obtain the golden visa. The limit is 183,000 dirham. How can we invest for the visa? We need to classify you as a professional investor, and for that, you need to prove a net worth of $1 million. You just need to reach out and share all the required documents. We're going to take these with the compliance team, and we can classify your account in 1 day. How does the property selection process work in terms of what stake offers? As I mentioned previously, we have a dedicated acquisition team that they do a proper due diligence on all the properties that we offer on the platform. We never compromise on the quality. We only offer properties that are located in prime locations, prime areas that are ready, rented out. They perform well over time. Plus, we take into consideration the historical transactions of these properties with the developer, the reputation of the building, the demand versus supply, also the occupancy rate. So all the properties that we select on the platform are purely selected hand-picked properties.
So just a question here regarding the limits again. So yes, to be able to invest 1 million dirham on stake, you would need to be classified as a professional investor. If you have $50,000, 183,000 dirham limit as a retail investor. So you would have to be classified as a professional investor to invest the 1 million or 2 million dirham required for the visas. Also, another question here regarding the $50,000. So that is to become so your $50,000 cap. That is not for the golden visa. That is for stake because of our regulation. So retail investors are capped at that $50,000. So then you would need to be able to show you're a professional investor with a net worth of $1 million to be able to then be classified as a professional investor to have that cap completely removed. Another one here, a stake property is acquired with 100% crowdsourced equity in all instances. There's no debt or other investors. No, so yeah, it is 100% through all investors digitally via the app. We don't do any offline or any debt funding at all for our properties.
I'll answer this question. How is the property exit resale decision determined? So we perform a vote among all investors. For any material changes in these assets, we perform a vote. And as per, if the majority decides to sell the property, we're going to sell it. If the majority decides to keep the investments, we're going to keep it. The majority, when we're talking about majority, it has to be 75% and above. Another question, regarding the $1 million valuation of asset can be cryptocurrencies. Yes, if your portfolio in cryptocurrencies contains Bitcoin or Ethereum, yes, we can take that. Alongside with other documents like if you have title deeds for non-primary asset, you can share your bank statement. It's a combination between all. Limited salary employee, how to get the maximum benefit of stake with small investments. We've created a new feature on the platform. If you go to your portfolio, if you didn't invest so far, you can see the power of combining your funds, over time. If you, let's say you put you put a goal to invest around 500 dirham or 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever amount every month over time, with a very conservative return, you will gonna build a very significant the value for your portfolio over time that will allow you to maximize your income, whether we're talking about the rent or the capital appreciation.
Just one here on obtaining the visa and reinvesting. So in order to maintain the visa, you do need to maintain the investment amount. So you can buy and sell out of individual properties, but you would just have to make sure that you always maintain that threshold of either 1 million dirham or 2 million dirham, depending on the type of visa. Another question in terms of rental agreements, are they done annually and then revised depending on the market? Yes, so just like any other landlord in the UAE, our long-term rental agreements are done, yes, annually. We sometimes do manage to secure also 2-year leaseholds as well, so we do sometimes have longer than 1 year. And again, we definitely, follow the market. The rental market's been very strong here over the last few years.
There's a question of who evaluate the properties before we select. We put a valuation from a third party that is regulated as well to check the transactions on these apartments and what's the value of this property at that point of time. Where based on that, you can decide if this property match with your investment goals.
Just one here on, is there any way to invest more than $50,000 without having the net worth? Unfortunately, no. Again, this is because we're regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority. That $50,000 limit, there's no way around that unless you have the net worth. So it would only be a change from the DFSA that would change that. Another question, if you have to invest the 1 million dirham all at once, or can it be done slowly? So absolutely, it can be done over time. It doesn't have to be done in one go. You can do it month by month or even over a year or so if you want to invest 1 million dirham and spread those payments out.
What criteria does stake look to when choose property? I've already mentioned this. Like we look at every single details related to the developer, the building itself, the area, the occupancy rate, the demand, and we include all these informations in the documents and the investments memorandum where you can look at it in each property. Can you qualify for the golden visa by investing in both stake and outside? No, unfortunately, you need to either invest like the entire 2 million dirham or 1 million dirham for the retirement visa on stake or outside the platform to be qualified for the golden visa or for the retirement visa. But following to what Sarah had mentioned earlier in the presentation, like the power of diversification, which you will get on this platform that allows you to maximize your income, and it's going to be a hassle-free investments for you to obtain this visa along with the good investments.
Yeah, so there's a few questions in regards to how do I proceed. So you'll receive an email straight after this with some further information that you'll be able to email us, reply to that and submit your interest. And then we can, Amat and his wonderful team will be able to help you with that process for either visa.
There's a question about the 7% appreciation, which we include in each property. It's high, or are we realistic by this? Yes. So we've already seen that from the properties that we were able to exit. We already maintained 51%. You're talking in 2.5 years for a property which we were able to exit. That's higher than 7%. That reflects the criteria or the way how we source the properties that holds potential in terms of appreciation. And obviously, real estate is a long-term investments where over time the value of these properties will always increase apart from the rental income that you will make.
So the $50,000, yeah, that resets at the 1st of January at the start of every year. And again, there's no time horizon to complete the investment for either visa. As soon as you've hit the threshold, then we can apply, but it doesn't have to be in one go. Also a question about the investor visa for 750,000 dirham. We can't right now. We are working on this. We will let you know if we do manage to secure the investor visa as well.
There's a question, can we invest 2 million dirham in one property or must be divided in different properties? It depends on the value of the property. I've mentioned earlier that there is a cap of 33% ownership in each property. Depends on the value of the asset. But over here, the beauty of the model is it allows you to diversify your investments in multiple apartments. So it's much better to diversify your investments in multiple properties if you're looking to invest 2 million dirhams. Is the $1 million net worth valid for stake platforms applicable for all Golden Visa application? It's only within stake platform because we are regulated by the Dubai Financial Services Authority.
So there's a question here in the success of being able to achieve full funding of the units and what the process looks like when 100% funding isn't reached. So we haven't encountered that. We have thousands and thousands and thousands of active investors. If anything, the properties are getting funded quicker and quicker by every single day. So we always reach a full funding within about 7 to 10 days.
There's a question about the $50,000 yearly limit. For example, can I invest $50,000 this year and 50,000 dirham next year, etc.? That's 100%. Like it's a calendar year limit that will be reset every January from the next year. You can invest and keep on increasing your portfolio over time. If you can't prove a net worth of $1 million, every year you can invest $50,000. How much maximum stake one can buy in one property? 33%.
Just a question here about, are we worried about the oversupply of apartments in the next 2 to 4 years? Great question. I really believe when you look at the supply that's coming into the market, the residential supply, and you look at the type of units that are coming in, and you look at locations where they're coming in, and you also look at the population, they're pretty much hand in hand. To beat the population quota, we need around 30,000 new homes every single year. We're pretty much hitting that with the upcoming supply. In terms of supply issues, I think it will really be lower grade areas that will suffer with oversupply. That is why we are very, very focused on making sure that we acquire units in prime locations only. We stay very, very targeted in the locations we buy in to avoid any oversupply in those areas.
There's a question why your Excel file cash flow always shows yearly. Because over here, like we run these properties on yearly basis. However, we distribute the dividends every month. You can refer to the funding timeline to check when are you going to receive the first rental income when you invest in any property. It's already mentioned there. Are you planning to expand Saudi Arabia and other countries? Yes, we already got the license from CMA. We're expanding to Saudi. And our first opportunity there should be after Ramadan, inshallah. We will have the first property there. Will Stake offer commercial properties opportunities in the future? Yes, we're already in touch with the FSA to be able to offer commercial assets and different type of assets on the platform. Currently, we started with residential buildings, income generating assets. However, there is always room to get more different type of assets on the platform soon.
Just a question if there's additional investment required for sponsoring a spouse. No, there isn't. As soon as you've hit it for yourself, you have the ability to then sponsor your spouse with no additional investment required. Also, a question here, will we allow investments through credit cards? So this is a DFSA restriction right now on retail investors. We allow credit card for professional investors. We can't currently allow that for retail investors. Again, that would come from the DFSA if we can do that. Somebody's also going to be in Dubai on Sunday. Enjoy, and they'd like to meet in person and discuss on the business. So yes, please do come and see us. Monday to Friday, we're located in the DIFC Innovation Hub. Feel free to stop by the office, come and see us, and we'll be happy to help.
When you want to sell property, will it be decided by 50% majority? No, the majority is 75% as per the FSA. And if more than 75% agree to sell the property, we're going to sell it.
So just a question here about the 1 million dirham investment. Should it be on one property? Across all properties. So you could put 200 here, 300 here, another 300, or you could do, you could put 100,000 across 10 properties. It really doesn't matter. You just have to hit the 1 million dirham in total investment on stake to qualify for the visa.
That's the question. If I have invested 1 million dirham in Dubai and 1 million dirham in KSA, would I be qualified for the golden visa? No, unfortunately, no. Like you need to invest in UAE 2 million dirhams or 1 million dirham for the retirement visa to be qualified for the golden visa. What happened if investors didn't vote on the fifth year? So we will take from whoever voted the majority, or otherwise there's the exit window option, which always available for you to liquidate your investments if you complete 1 year in the investments. There is a question if we can give a kind of recommendation on the properties for anyone to invest. Unfortunately, we can't give any recommendation for you to invest. However, we always recommend anyone to diversify his investments in multiple apartments. In all the cases, all the properties that we source are following the one criteria, where all are located in prime locations. They hold very high occupancy rate. If you diversify investments, the best strategy.
If Stake is having a strong selection process, would we create our own REIT in the future? So I think the kind of next step for us, we could potentially look towards introducing funds, real estate funds. Right now with FactShop, we are focused on fractional, but we are looking at how else we can offer different investment opportunities to our investors. On that point, there has been a couple of questions. I know we've got quite a few of our investors on the call. So we are expanding to KSA. We are expanding to Saudi in Q2 of this year, which is very exciting. Stay tuned in the next really 6 weeks. You'll find out a lot more information on what that looks like. But Saudi is really exciting for us as a business and as an investment opportunity to our investors. And it will be open to anybody to invest from anywhere in the world into KSA real estate. So do stay tuned for more information on that as well.
There's a question about sharing success stories or testimonials from Stake users. Yes, obviously you need to visit our Instagram page or YouTube channel where you'll find videos for users talking about their experience with Stake in that regards. And if you're seeking to know more information about Stake, you can definitely get in touch with us on contact@getstake.com, and our team will get in touch to give you all the information required. When we will start with the auto investments feature, very soon. Very soon, it's in our pipeline.
A couple of questions around fees, Samara, if you want to take those.
Yes, so we have 3 different type of fees. We have fee at the time of acquisition. We take 1.5% at the time of entry. We take at the time of exit 2.5% from the reselling value. And every year we take 0.5%, 0.5% from the rent. The way how we structure our fees keeps us aligned with investors. So if you make money, we're gonna make money. So we will be always motivated to rent your property out since we take 0.5% on that. On top of all of that, we didn't put a fixed amount at the time of exit. It's a percentage where it gives us also the motivation to resell the property with the highest value, which we've already proved that in the previous exited properties. For example, you invested in a property for 1 million dirham, and we managed to sell this property for 1.5 million. We take 2.5% from the 1.5 million, apart from taking 0.5% every year from the rent. Can I withdraw the money, the dividends to different country? Of course, anyone from anywhere around the world can invest with us. You can just add your bank account details and submit a withdrawal request, and our finance team will process your withdrawal request. Within 2 to 3 days, it will be in your account.
Question on the price that we've sold properties for. So we just exited another whole property, Al Majara. You can see that on the Stake app, and it was a 54%, I believe, property appreciation. So there are investors invested in that property that came in for the initial investment. They also came in on the exit window. They benefited not just from their rental yields, but also from the capital appreciation as we exited that investment as well.
There's a question about if someone invested and in a sold property, will it still be counted for the visa? No, unfortunately, you have to maintain 1 million dirham investments for the retirement visa or 2 million dirham investments for the golden visa to obtain and maintain the golden visa or the retirement visa. Any more properties lined up for the exit? Of course, we have around 10 to 12 properties in the pipeline to flip in this quarter. We're working to make more flipping.
A question on properties in other Emirates. Yes, so we are really trying to make sure that we can offer different investment options. So this means we are looking into Abu Dhabi and RAK at the moment on how we can expand our offering to those Emirates. So we're working really, really hard to get, not just residential ready in Dubai. We're really trying to focus on making sure we can bring commercial units to you and different locations. And like I mentioned, KSA is also another way in which we're offering different ways for you as our investors to diversify within Stake as well.
What
To
is the minimum
your
year?
Oh, just sorry, let me take this on 1 second. There's a question regarding the investments made into KSA. Will that count towards the UAE visa? No, so it would have to be investments into UAE real estate with UAE title deeds to qualify for the both visas.
There's a question about the minimum years that you need to hold in order to sell or exit your share. You can resell your share if you maintain 1 year in the investments. After that, you can liquidate using the exit window. Otherwise, you can stick with a plan, the recommended investment terms. Our main objective is to resell with appreciation during 5 years. How long does it take to complete the funding of a property? The average funding time frame is around 2 weeks. I just mentioned during the presentation last month, we were able to fund 20 properties in 30 days, which means it's giving a less average for funding a property. There's a question about the minimum investments amount. Why don't we increase it to 2,000 dirham? We always aim to give to democratize the real estate and give the option for anyone from anywhere around the world to invest from whatever amount that they want to. That's why we have a minimum of 500 dirham. You can invest whatever amount that suits your budget and investment goals. You can obviously increase the investments or start with whatever amount.
It says a question here on are there properties for short-term rentals essentially through Stake. So yes, we have some properties that are managed on a short-term rental basis, some that are on a long-term rental basis. Our investors like to diversify. We are more focused on having long-term units for more sustainable rental income versus short-term, but we do have some holiday homes available as well. Question here about rent. If we receive annual rent, why don't we pay annually? We like to pay our investors every single month. We think that's important. And depending on the type of agreements with the tenants, they vary in terms of payment periods as well with number of checks.
If stake plans to flip properties, does give chance it owns investors to bid? Yes, obviously, like if you feel like you're planning to buy property, and if you wanna buy the property that you've already invested in, we can give you the option to do that. But that has to be aligned with the market price for this property, and based on that, we will perform a vote.
How are we ensuring that the property price doesn't go down in 5 years? Look, I mean, nobody has a crystal ball, and I think that goes for any type of investment that anybody makes. But really, what we really focus on as a business is making sure investors can build up a diversified portfolio. And when you look at Dubai, and if we go back over some of the previous slides that we went through, when you look at the population growth, the growth of not just this city, but this country and this region, there's a lot more growth opportunity that's there. And when you also look at the price per square foot of Dubai properties versus other international cities, we have so much further to go in terms of growth. We have seen strong capital appreciation in recent years, and that can't go on forever. But the best money you can make is through capital appreciation long term in real estate. So I think investing with a long term horizon is always the best view. But look, we still give the option to liquidate because we know that people need that ability to exit their investments as they wish. We're not trying to make real estate into a day trading platform. We still believe the way to build wealth is through long term sustainable investing, but you have that option to exit as well.
The question if we are responsible directly for managing the properties. No, the moment we complete funding the property, we assign the management process to a dedicated management property that they're expert in the market. We are responsible about the administration process from A to Z to ensure that your investment is safe. What if I want to hold the property for more than 5 years? So on the 5th year, we will do vote among investors. If the majority, which is more than 75%, decides to sell the property, we're going to sell it, depending on the value at that point of time. If the majority decides to carry on the investments, we will keep it for 1 year and then again and do another vote.
Just a question here about due to restrictions that we're unable to accept some passport holders. The person asking this question is saying their country is Nigeria. So there are some restrictions in the DFSA. They have lifted some recently. So please reach out to us again. If you've got the app, you'll see the chat feature. Reach back out to us and we'll be able to help you with that. Question here about there's a guarantee of stake as a company can support the investment for a number of years, the risk of stake. So I think what's important here is the way that we've set up the business. So for every single property that we fund the full amount, we open an SPV. This SPV is essentially a separate legal company that owns that real estate. So if you go on the DIFC public register, you will see hundreds of SPVs that are managed by stake, but they are separate entities. The money is ring fenced away from stake, so the investor's money is protected and stake is also protected. So what happens is we have a title deed for that individual property. The owner of that title deed is the SPV. And as investors, you all become shareholders in that SPV. There's a lot of information that we have in our FAQs online. So if you've got any questions around that and our contingency processes, please have a look and have a read through. And again, reach out if you've got any other questions.
The request to put one particular photo of the invested properties. It's very confusing outside of the pictures. We try to include all the details related to the property, even if it's in the same location. So you can refer to the property number, you can refer to all the documents, plus it's already differentiated. You can find it in your portfolio.
Okay, literally 2 more minutes, so chance for a couple more questions to come through.
There's a question about the cost associated with the property purchased. We've included a projection a sheet in each property. You can open that sheet. You can double check all the costs for the and transactions associated with these investments before you invest. Yeah, there's a question about a feature to download portfolio transaction in Excel format. Yes, very soon we're gonna have this feature available. If you still need to have a report of your transactions and investments, you can reach out to us to contact@GetStake, and we will provide you with these documents.
Question here, can I take a bank loan to fund the 2 million dirham investment? Yes, that's up to you in terms of how you secure the 2 million dirham. You can do that. The 2 million dirham or 1 million dirham does just need to be funded on stake.
It's a question about the average annual return in percentage. So the performance of the previous funded properties and the live ones, it's around 8 to 10% annualized ROI. These figures comes between rental income and the projected capital appreciation over time. Off-plan stake invest in these type of properties. Unfortunately, now we're allowed to put income generating assets, which means ready and rented out properties. Off-plan, we might have this option in Saudi through funds. Someone who purchased properties in Dubai and Sharjah, if the combined value is 2 million dirham, no, it has to be in one emirate, not 2 million dirhams. Is there a fee charged by your bank for receiving money? No, we don't charge any fees. Depends on if the money being transferred first to intermediary bank. If that's the case, then there will be charges from the intermediary. You can contact us if you get charged through contact@GetStake, and we will help you.
Just a question here regarding if we've got properties for sale, you can approach Stake. Sure, drop us an email. The email's on the screen. We'll be in touch. Okay, I think that's it then. Thank you to everybody for your time today. We really appreciate you joining us this evening. This recording will be sent to you, and it will be on our YouTube channel for you to refer back to if you'd like to. And if you are interested in not just the golden or retirement visas, but if you've got any questions on Stake, please drop us an email at contact@getstake.com. Our team will be in touch. If you've not downloaded the Stake app, download the app. We've also got a chat feature in there where you can chat with us directly. And we thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much. Thanks to everyone for attending this webinar.
Thank you. Bye-bye.